Excuse me. Yes. Welcome back to Nick Lenz Comic Corner Classics, Non-Classics. This is episode number 2148 and Doubleshot number 2042. Now, both the two trades feature Batman. In a way. First up we have is Batman Beyond Neo Year. This collects the entire 6-issue limited series and to the story from Batman Relations number 7, which is a prologue to this one. I do have a slight rant before I talk about this particular miniseries. DC, and any company, if you can put the name Year on the title, have it last 12 issues. Not frickin' 6 or 8 or 9 or 10. Let it last 12 issues. Not 6. It's frickin' stupid. So the Urban Legend issue was bad when this issue was not collected in the Urban Legend trades. Yeah, for some reason they decided not to collect it. I think it's one of 2 stories out of the entire series that, well, of the 4 trades, this was the other one that wasn't collecting those trades was the Harley Quinn story. Now, this story started out with the death of Bruce Wayne. And also we have in this storyline, we have Barbara Gordon, the older Barbara Gordon, retiring as the commissioner of the GCPD. And knew it. Now, it seems as though, before I continue, it seems as though we're taking a little bit of inspiration from Dark Knight Returns, a little bit. Like a Gordon retiring and replaced with somebody else. Now, apparently, get this, it's explained in the book that Bruce Wayne was killed by a rogue AI. Yes, Bruce Wayne of the Batman Beyond timeline was killed by a rogue AI. Now, unlike the previous book, this one felt as though it was set not in the regular book, the previous book we had before, but in the book that was the TV show timeline. Why? Because Commissioner Barbara Gordon is drawn, especially with those features of glasses, because I know she was older in the Batman comic book by Dan Jurgens, but this one is like a little, much more older, and this implies this could be set just after the events of the TV show Batman Beyond, but before the episode epilogue. Now, this book is not written by Dan Jurgens. It is written by, get this, Colin Kelly and Jackson Loring. This is one of those books recently, I was actually considering buying this book from the library, and then I realized the library's getting hands on it, so I figured I'll save some money and not buy it. Now, this book was one of those mini-series in the last 6 years. The past 2 years. Like, last year was so overblown with Batman comic books. It was not funny. There was way too much to be published. Like, there was like 2 or 3 10-issue limited series, 6 issues. I've checked recent solicits. Basically, there's no new Batman miniseries started up. My guess is because either people were not caring for Batman miniseries, or the sale's not there for much right now. That's my guess. But the only one that's still constantly published is the Batman White Knight stuff. That one, I think people will like that one. That's the reason why that keeps getting follow-ups by Sean Murphy. Batman Beyond, this was the first comic book featuring him since the end of his solo book. I think it was concluded the same month as Batgirl. It was included issue 50. Now, the only other books that recently under DC Rebirth included issue 50 was Batgirl, Batman Beyond, Suicide Squad, and Green Arrow. Of those books, Batgirl was relaunched as Batgirls. Batman Beyond came back for this miniseries. Suicide Squad was relaunched twice. First as an 11-issue ongoing maxi series. The other is a 15-issue ongoing series. Green Arrow ended and was gone for 4 years. And now it's back. Because apparently DC just could not trust Green Arrow with an ongoing series. Despite the fact probably one of the reasons the book didn't sell too well, because the inconsistency between writers. That was my opinion. And several people have this opinion too, that the Green Arrow comic book was the most inconsistent written book out of all DC comic books. And this was a problem for over a decade, with basically, for at least for 10 years, that was the biggest problem with the book. Now, despite the fact this is sort of set in this, I think it's implied to be set in that universe. For some reason, Terry gets a new girlfriend in here. Now, they actually still imply the fact that possibly Bruce might be his father, which that's taken from the epilogue. But here's the thing: it's not set it's not set during the epilogue or afterward, because Terry is not as beefy as he was in the episode. Because if you watch the episode, Terry McGinnis is jacked, really jacked. Here he's normal size. I would say he's about the same build as Dick Grayson. Oddly enough, now aside from Terry, Barbara Gordon, and Bruce, you're probably asking, Nick, is there any other familiar characters from the Batman Beyond comic book in here? That's a really series. Is the Justice League featured in here, or any of his villains? Excuse me. Well, we do have it where the Batcave was briefly shut down, and pretty much the whole Wayne Manor is destroyed at the end of the first issue, that was interesting. So, here's where I kind of implied this is set during the TV show. Because Tilly Goes glasses and the way Barbara Gordon is drawn. In the previous book, she still had red hair despite being an older woman. That's how she was drawn. Here, it's like they pulled it from the Batman Beyond animated series. Also, this I thought was kind of weird though about this book. There's no appearance by the Batmobile in this book. Well, I'm talking about the Batman Beyond Batmobile. Thinking what, really? Yeah, really. For some reason, they decided not to feature it. Also, basically, just destroys the Batcave. All because of the Rogue AI stuff. Now, oddly enough, like I said, there's no appearance. Now, Batman Beyond, he had this flying Batmobile because it was the future. So, of course, they have the flying Batmobile stuff. So, we have... Now, here's the strange thing, though, about this book. There's even an area of Gotham known as Jokerville. Yes, seriously. It's called Jokerville for reasons. Now, here's the strange thing about this book. Because the whole thing with AI stuff, now you're probably thinking, is his girlfriend in this miniseries? Nope. Is 10 from Royal Flush Gang? Nope. Mom here? Nope. His brother Matt? Nope. Nobody is. And you're thinking, really? Terry McGinnis has got a really good supporting cast, and yet none of them in this book, aside from Barbara Gordon. Which is strange. Yeah, I'm not really sure exactly why. I do appreciate, though, the artist drawing the Batarangs the way they've always been depicted for Batman Beyond. This person here calls himself the Sword of Gotham. My guess is, for this character, he could be implied as basically a reinterpretation of Azrael. Possibly, but I'm not really sure. So he takes this girl he met, who is the actual sword, and, well, basically it's implied, oh, baby Barbara up on the cost again. Not really, no. The story for this miniseries is okay, and of course, I love the artwork by the artist who is not Bernard Chang. He did the previous book. This is Max DeBar. Yes, and the artwork book is really good. Like I said, the story's okay. The artwork is really good. I give this book roughly an 8.5 out of 10. Yes. Biggest problems with this book. It's called Batman Beyond. And aside from seeing appearance by a dead Bruce Wayne and Barbara Gordon, none of his supporting characters are here. And not even his villains. Not Blight, not Mr. Freeze, nobody. Not really sure why. I mean, you figure, though, it's a Batman Beyond comic book. They might feature him. Now, where this Rogue AI came from, the book does not go into detail about that. Though I forgot when I read this, I'm like, man, this feels like a rehashing from a Nightwing story. And the thing is, do these guys write Nightwing, you might ask? If I remember, no, I don't think they did. They did write Green Arrow. As a matter of fact, they were actually the last writers of the book before it got canceled. That's our really biggest problem with the book. Aside from the death of Bruce Wayne, which was not a really good idea for this timeline, it's like, okay, so he destroys the Batcave because the rogue AI. His supporting cast of villains are nowhere to be seen. So you could imply this book is a Batman Beyond in name only, because aside from tearing Commissioner Gordon, it's virtually a different comic book. Yeah, that's just my opinion, anyways. Other people have different opinions. If you have an opinion about this miniseries, please feel free to list in the comments below. Our next episode is really much better. We have Superman. Me. Whatever happened to the Man of Tomorrow? And this is a deluxe edition for this. Now, Whatever Happened Tomorrow was actually the final issues at the time of Superman Volume 1 and Action Comics. Though the books were on hiatus for 6 months. You have Superman 423 Action Comics. I think it was like 583. And they also included, get this, books that came out one that came out the same month as the Batman books, the other a year prior, because all the books, everything in here is written by Alan Moore. Yes. The artwork for the Superman X comic issues are done by Kurt Swan, a legendary Superman artist. DC Comic Presents number 85. That's done by Rick Bach. Well, the artwork anyways. We also are here by the late George Perez, Kurt Sufferberger, Al Williamson, and Dave Gibbons. Now, this book also contains the A number 11 and DC Universe 85. A number 11, For the Man Who Has Everything. This story is noteworthy for having a debut of two things that is very famous for Superman mythology, or lore anyways. One, of course, this book is debut of Mongol. Yes, the alien despot who's the ruler of Warworld. And this is his debut. And the other thing is debut of the Black Mercy. A thing that has actually popped up a few times in live action animation. I think live action popped up once. Yes, they actually had the Black Mercy. If you don't know what the heck the Black Mercy is, the Black Mercy is an alien plant that basically, if it goes on you, it causes you to have a hallucination of something you desire. And the only way to beat it is to basically do mind stuff. It's kind of weird. But the story itself is a pure classic story by Alan Moore. When people think of Alan Moore's books for DC Comics, Superman Annual number 11 is one of his very few individual comics he does, aside from Swamp Thing and Watchmen. For DC. The reason is because, well, the guy is got a high opinion of himself, and the guy is notorious. One of the most notorious comic book writers of all time, where he does not get along with his editors. As a matter of fact, he despises DC editors with a passion. He also worked on V for Vendetta for them, which there was some books, and he also this thing where he also takes his name out of adaptations of his own work because he does not want the credit for anything adapting his work. He is very stubborn about that. So this happened after the movies The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen and From Hell was released. He was not happy with how they were adapted, so he demanded any future project adapted any of his work his name be taken off the credits. He did not want the credit for the story based upon something he wrote, despite the fact clearly he did write it. Like, for example, the Watchmen movie is based on a comic, but he wrote Watchmen. Also, I think Viva Day was another one, basically, he was not happy with either. Let's see. The Killing Joke, obviously, is one of the most famous ones that was adapted movie. though, according to what I heard for that one. Now, the thing is, for Man Coming Tomorrow, this was definitely adapted for Superman animated series. I don't know how he felt about this one, but I know he hated the movie adaptations of, like I said, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, V for Vendetta, and From Hell. He hated those adaptations. In the case of DC Universe Presents 85, this issue is mostly about a team issue where Superman teams up with Swamp Thing. Excuse me, and Rick Vogt does the artwork. I've actually met Rick Vogt, very nice guy, in person. Now, this makes total sense that Alan Moore would basically do this team issue, because I believe at the time I think he was wrapping up his run on Swamp Thing at that point in time, or he was still working on it. But this book in particular, this kind of is the end of the Earth 1 Superman. That's mostly what happened to Man of Tomorrow, where it's mostly a flashback story told by Lois Lane. That this book is noteworthy for being the final appearance of the Earth 1 Hawkman. Him and Hawkgirl, like basically anything associated with Superman. We also play with the last stand of the Daily Planet. The story itself is just a pure classic story that was actually loosely inspired. Now, they did have a spiritual sequel to that by Neil Gaiman in the mid-2000s, known as Whatever Happened to Cape Crusader, an excellent two-part story told across Batman Detective Comics. This one was kind of the same thing. Now, is there anything really new about these issues? Not really. I do recommend checking these issues out because the stuff in here is really, really good. And I'm not sure how Alan Moore feels today about Superman 11. I know he regrets doing Killing Joke. He even considered it an Elseworld story, but DC made canon anyways. But I know that Alan Moore fans, they love Superman 11. I think I remember the first time it was adapted. I think it was from an episode of Justice League, if I remember correctly. Though they took Robin out of the story, and they just had, I think it had Batman, Superman. It was Batman, Superman. Superman was one of the Black Mercy. But I think it was Batman, Wonder Woman. And I think the other one was probably Martian Manhunter. Yes, but virtually it's the same story. Just they swapped out one character, and I think they swapped out one of the gifts. But most of it's a very faithful adaptation, and it's one of the most noteworthy ones. The other was an episode of Supergirl where she got infected with the Black Mercy. And it was given to her not that long ago. It was given by a different character of the series. I think also they kept the Black Mercy in one of Superman's his aquarium he has, the Forge of Solitude. Yep. But I don't want to spoil too much about what happened to Cape Crusader, the Man Tomorrow, because it is just really, really good. I have reviewed the stuff that come after this. Yes, I have. As a matter of fact, everything that come after this for the next few years, I have reviewed, thanks to the by John Byrne hardcovers, which covered the entirety of the late 80s for Superman. Starting with the Man of Steel miniseries that he did, which a second volume published in 2018, I think it was. But this story here, really good. I give this whole trade here a 10 out of 10 because it's that damn good. Yeah, we also have a goodbye from the Legion of Superheroes. Yes. Now, the strange thing about Legion of Superheroes, they were not ultimate Crisis of Earth. They were ultimate by 0 Hour. Yes. But yeah, not much else to say about those two books. Both good. Okay, so that's up sick of you. Stay tuned for tomorrow for Kamen Rider and a bunch of anime reviews. Okay, thanks for doing. Bye.